Welcome in this video, and here we are going to learn on how we can apply our next method of solving quadratic equation, which is known as completing the square method. In our previous videos, we have learned on how we can apply the quadratic formula here, here to apply or to solve quadratic equations. Now, we have another method which we can use, which we call quadratic completing square method, which is almost similar to quadratic equation, because actually the moment or the way we were deriving the quadratic formula is the method in which we are going to also apply to solve this quadratic equation by completing the square method. So these are the steps that you follow when you are solving a quadratic equation using the completing square method. Now, the first thing we should make sure is that the coefficient of x squared is 1. If it is not 1, then you have to make sure it is 1. For example, you have been given as 5. You have to divide throughout by 5 to make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1. And therefore, since it is 1, then you can proceed to the next step. The next step we should do is to take constants to the right hand side, while those variables that we have, that is x squared and x, to remain on the other side. And that's what we want to do. That is x squared minus 7x equals to negative 12. And the moment we have that, then we can proceed to the next step. So the next step should be, we're going to take b, we divide it by 2, and we add it on both sides. So if we take b and we divide it by 2, we add on both sides, then we're going to have x squared minus 7x plus 7 negative 7 over 2, we square that, is equals to negative 12 plus negative 7 over 2, we square it. And now you notice we have b divided by 2, we square that and we add to both sides. And if we simplify that, then on the left hand side, we are going to have what we call a perfect square. And for a perfect square, for us to factorize it, then it's going to be like this. X, since this is a minus 7 over 2 squared, which is equals to, if we simplify it to the right hand side, then we have negative 12 minus or plus 49 over 4. Using my calculator here, then I can simplify what is in the, that is 49 divided by 4, and we subtract 12. That is 1 over 4. So we have x minus 7 over 2, we square that, is equals to 1 over 4. Now the next thing we want to do is to find the square root on both sides. So the square root on this side and the square root on this side. Then you have the square here cancels out with the square root. Then we have x minus 7 over 2 is equals to the square root of any number, should be plus or minus. Now the square root of 1 is 1 and the square root of 4 is 2. And now we're going to solve for x when it's a positive here, and again we solve it when it's a negative. Now x is equals to, let's assume it's a positive, a half, and we add that to 7 over 2. And that's going to be x is equals to, it's going to be 8 over 2, that is 4. And when it's a minus, x is equals to a half. When it's a negative, a half, then we're going to have plus 7 over 2. That's going to be negative 6 divided by 2, which is, that is going to be 6 divided by 2, that is 3. And the two values of x and the other value of x, the two values of x are 3 and positive 4. So again, this is how we have done it. you have to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. If it is 1, then you can proceed. If it is not 1, then you can make it 1 by dividing throughout by the number provided there. Now the next thing you do is to take the constants on the right hand side and you leave the variables on the other side. So that's exactly what we need. And then we had x squared minus 7x equals to 12x. And then the next thing you want to do is to take b, you divide by 2, and then the value that you get, you add them on both sides. That's what we did, and this is what we got. Now, whatever will be on the left-hand side will be what we call a perfect square, and that's how we factorize it. Or if you can remember that a squared a minus b squared can be written as a squared minus 2ab plus c, if you can remember very well, and that's why we have this x minus 7 over 2, the square that should be equal to, if you solve this, you simplify this, then you get 1 over 4, and the square root of any number has to be plus or minus, and the square root of a quarter is a half, and then you solve for the values of x when it is a positive here, and the value of x when it is a negative. And that's how we solve a quadratic equation using calculating the square method.